gonna give it a couple of minutes for people to show up. Hi, Jade. Hi, Britton. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? I have like a fan going. It should be okay. All right, we'll start in, we'll just get started in a seated, comfy seated position. Cool. So if you were in last week's class, there's some elements of last week's class that I want to explore further. So we're going to be sharing some things. Yes. I'm happy you guys are here. We're going to connect with some stuff we did in the last class. If you weren't there, that's okay, but I recommend if you like what we do today, go back to last week's class and check out some of those moves too. Good. All right. So today we're working on a pose called Bird of Paradise. It's kind of like a sort of standing half split. And a bind, quite a deep bind. So we're going to be working on that. If you know that your hamstrings are not feeling very long today, have a block. I use my foam roller, so something to give yourself a little bit of height. You can also use blankets or pillows. If you're lucky enough to have a bolster, like a yoga bolster, please grab that as well. And when it comes to working on things like splits or very deep stretches, especially around the hips, I always say start with your pedal off the gas, your foot off the gas pedal. So you want to kind of ease into the pose, especially when we're working in the hips and in deeper postures. And we're going to work really a lot with the breath. So speaking to your nervous system by pulling a really nice deep breath, matching your inhalations to your exhalations. And as we breathe today, sticking with the theme of the past few weeks of finding that middle ground between breathing too high up into the chest or breathing too low up into the belly and where your intercostals are completely relaxed. So we're not sucking in the belly and driving the air up into the chest, into the top of the chest, or too much into the lower belly. There's kind of a middle ground, right? Like that Buddhist always looking for the middle path. So we're kind of looking for that with the breathing. Your engagement of your abdominals should never interrupt your breathing, for example. So let's start in a seated kind of meditation pose, easy pose with the feet on the ground, sit bones on the ground, just to arrive at our practice and settle in. You can place your hands wherever you feel comfortable. You can place your palms up to the ceiling or down, whatever feels right to you today. Even to the side or on the ground is all good. And so we'll just start here with a few nice deep breaths. So you can pull in the air through the nose and you can exhale audibly through the mouth. And we're going to do 5 of those, so 4 more. Let it all go as you exhale. One more, take a big deep breath. And let it all out. You can be as loud as you want there. And you can continue with that kind of breathing if you want. Breathing in through the nose. Out through the mouth. You don't want to control too much. We're just kind of guiding the breath and supporting it. we're just trying to enter our practice. So really feeling heavy through the sit bones. You can feel the shoulders just fall away from the ears. Feel the neck kind of get nice and long, and your jaw will just release. Soften the eyes, the ears. Releasing any hold you have on that space between your brows. If you're having a particularly energetic day, you can even do some tapping. So tapping the temple, the cheekbones, the collarbones, shoulders, collarbones, cheekbones. So temple, the top of the forehead, kind of off to the side, cheekbones, collarbones, shoulders. Let's do it one more time. Forehead, cheekbones, and we're just tap tap. Collarbones, shoulders. Great, so we'll bring our hands together and we're going to open with a nice big chant. So just chanting Om 3 times, and this connects us to our teachers and the teachers that came before us. It connects us to anyone else who's taking this class. So take a nice big deep breath. Close the eyes and just connect to that vibrational sound. You can keep that with you throughout the practice. If your mind gets distracted, you can always chant Om in your mind. And right away, we'll just turn to the front of the mat here, and I want you to grab a block. We're starting in a supported squat, so sit bones landing on the block, a little bit behind you. Try and keep forward. It depends on how tight your hips are feeling today. If you need more height, take more height. You can go on a higher level of the block. Remember, like, ease into it. And really feel heavy through the heels. Feel the connection between the hamstrings, the glutes, and the heels. And think of externally rotating the legs and also pressing the legs into the arms, pressing the arms into the legs, and then using that to grow the sternum out of the structure. So you're growing nice and tall in here, pressing open, no rush. Taking some nice deep breaths here. And I invite you to kind of choose your breathing style for this practice and try and stick with it. So matching your inhalations to your exhalations. You can breathe in through the nose, out through the nose, ujjayi breathing, whatever you need today. If you're high anxiety, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Whatever you need, try and touch base with that. But whatever you choose, try and come back to that throughout the whole practice if you can, as a focal point. Now we're going to remove the block a little bit. You can go a little bit lower, placing it down, or you can remove it. And I'm moving my squat. So raising through the sternum, but I'm kind of moving around. I'm trying to get a little bit more fluid here so it's not so static. Kind of moving up and down. From here, you can just place your block kind of nearby. We want it for the standing posture, so place it at the beginning of the front of your mat. We're going to turn the feet forward, and we're still going to just move in this squat. So don't hunch too much forward like you see me doing now. Try and lift up out of it. In fact, if you can, from your squat, we're going to stand up into a chair. So inhale, strengthen through the heels, and we're just going to lift up, draw the knees together. So we're in sort of like a wide-legged chair. And we're gonna just breathe here. Try not to be too bendy in the back, so hold the pelvis down a little bit. Belly moves away from the thighs. Hands up towards the sky, pinkies turned in slightly. Gaze down or towards the arms, towards the fingertips. Come back down into your squat. It should already feel easier, actually. Press the arms against the knees, knees against the arms. I'm going to sway back and forth a little bit. If you feel anything in the knee, come up a little bit, give yourself a bit more space. Trying to point the feet forward again. Now we're lifting back up into a chair. Belly away from the thighs. Shoulders wrap around rather than up towards the ears, wrap them forward. So the shoulder blades move away from the spine. Good. And from here we'll just stand up straight and we'll take the legs together. So your toes do not have to be completely touching, but let's take them a little bit closer than they were. And this time sitting back into a more traditional chair. Lifting up, activating the muscles of the back, activating through the heels. Heels press down, and that helps you lengthen the neck even. From here, you're going to lift your left leg up. You can stay here for a moment. And then we're going to cross the left leg over the right leg. And then we're going to sit a little bit deeper for eagle. You can then take your left arm over the right arm, trying to wrap the palms together. Looking up towards the hands, try and lift the elbows up towards the ceiling. Feel the stretch in the shoulder blades. Squeeze the hips together. From here, exhale, draw the elbows down towards the knees. Tap. And then you can inhale, come up. It's kind of like an eagle crunch. Keep the hips squeezing together. It'll really help support you. Left leg comes back up. You're going to hover the left leg in a 90-degree angle. And then as you exhale, you can unwind the arms, take the left leg back into a high lunge. Lifting the arms up towards the ceiling. So high lunge, you're actually up on the toes. Belly moving away from the front thigh. You can look straight ahead or up towards the hands. Squeezing the back glutes, very active in the back glutes. And then trying to find that front leg in a 90-degree angle if you can. Good. Really work through that back hip flexor. And from here we're just going to open our twist towards the wall, so towards the right thigh. Squeezing the hips together. Look towards the back hand. Come forward, and then try and lift back into your eagle. So you can take a little step first and then hop, lift the left leg up, Cross back over the right leg, cross the left hand back over the right hand, trying to touch the palms. If the palms don't touch, it's not a problem. Touch the back of the hands, but definitely make that contact to help you separate the shoulders from the spine. Then lift the elbows up towards the ceiling, squeeze the hips together. Good, breathe. Sink a little bit deeper if you can. Lift up out of it and come to standing. Good, now other side. So we're gonna lift the right leg this time, and you're gonna notice a difference for sure. With the arms and the legs, that's fine. Just take note of which side feels tighter, which side feels more open. So crossing the right leg now over the left one, see if you can hook the foot. If not, it's actually better for your activating the outer hips. So squeezing the outer hips together, nothing in the knee here. If the knee is popping or you're feeling something in the knee, just unhook that foot and focus on squeezing the hips together. Take the right hand over the left hand, look for the palms or the backs of the hands. Use that contact point and move the shoulders away from the spine. Look up towards the hands. Good, now keep squeezing those thighs as you crunch the elbows down towards the knees. Tap the elbows on the knees and then use the muscle of the spine and the weight through the heel to lift back up. Hold the shoulders away from the spine. Good. Now we're going to lift the right leg up and then slowly float it back into a lunge, high lunge, so on the top of the toes. Unwind the arms and lift up. Try and find that 90-degree bend in the front leg, tracking with the toes, so the knee tracks with the toes. Back glute is engaged. Looking up toward the pinky fingers. Good. See if you can rise up out of the hips. It's like someone's pulling on your arms. Take a long exhalation and then inhale, open up towards the left thigh. Don't lose the bend in the front leg. Keep active through the back leg. Open up through the top of the chest. Good. Come back to center, lift up. Take a little step forward and then lift the right leg back up, crossing it back over the left for your eagle. Same arm. Reach the palms together or the backs of the hands. And then again, lift the shoulders away from the spine. And if you want, just one more time, you can crunch the elbows down towards the knees as you squeeze the hips together. And then slowly lift back up. Release the arms, release the leg, and come to a nice standing position. Inhale, lift the arms, stretch up. Exhale, fold over nice strong legs. Inhale, come up halfway. Then plant the hands, you can step back, find a chaturanga, so slow descent towards the floor. Inhale for your up dog. Exhale, down dog. From here, you're going to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. No rest. No rest in that down dog. And just bend the leg here. You can open the right hip. And you're going to draw circles with the right hip clockwise. So 1, 2. See if you can engage the leg. See if you can use that right glute. 4 and 5. Good. Straighten the leg. Drop the right hip so you're squeezing the thighs together. Lower back into down dog. Lift the left leg right away.
bending at the knee, you can open up the left hip. And again, we're going to do counterclockwise circles with the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. Place the feet down and you can walk them out. Oh, my calves are burning. So walk your heels towards the mat. Nice and long through the hamstrings. See if you can just gently pull the belly away from the thigh without interrupting your breathing. You can look between the hands and take a little hop forward. See if you can land as silently as possible. Exhale, fold forward. And you can stay here for just a moment in your forward fold. And I invite you to take the variation that you need. So you can place the hands down and hang. You can cup the elbows. This is really nice. Swaying the arms side to side. Or you can place the hands even just on the shin bones and use that action to lift halfway up, which can be really nice. Think of opening up through the top of the chest. Taking nice deep breaths. If you're in a halfway variation, you can fold back down again. Nice strong legs. So your legs are like this concrete pole, 2 concrete poles, and you're just letting the upper body flow kind of like a waterfall over these really sturdy foundations. So you really want to activate through all 4 corners of the feet. Good, and then nice and slowly you can bend the knees if you need, and you're going to come all the way up, squeezing the glutes as you do. And then finding the top of your mat. We're going to use a block for Trikonasana, so finding your triangle pose. Back leg almost 45-degree, whatever works for you. You're trying to kind of line up your back heel with the middle of your front heel with the middle of the back foot. Have the block on the highest height, and you're going to inhale, open up the arms. And as you exhale, engaging your back glute, keeping the sturdy structure of the legs, try and find the block while rolling the chest open towards the ceiling. Use the hand pressing on the block to further open the chest and look up. Good. Stay here, find your breath. Even if you know you can get closer to the ground, we're going to use the highest height for now. Good. Coming up, you can grab your block if you only have one like me, and travel to the other side, activating the back glute and accepting if it's different on this side, just accepting that, opening the chest up towards the sky. Looking towards the top hand. Breathe for 5. Strong legs. 4. 3. 2, and 1. Look down towards the left hand. Inhale, push with the legs to come all the way up. And as you exhale, you're going to take a wider stance with the legs and bend into Parshva, so almost like a longer warrior 2. Find the knee kind of stacked over the right ankle. Again, grabbing your block, coming to the inside of the leg, using the hand pushed against the block to open the chest, and we're going to open the left arm towards the sky. Nice and strong through that back leg. So your foot is down, sort of in a mix between Trikonasana and Warrior 2. It depends on your hips. So trying to get it, you can get it square with the mat if you like, really focusing on breathing into this front leg. Looking for that 90-degree bend, but then also looking the same spiraling of the chest that we see in Trikonasana, looking up towards the hand. Good. So it's that same theme of we're really pushing through the legs to allow the chest to open. You've got a strong foundation there. And then as you push away from the ground, you can travel to the other side, switching legs. Finding your block next to the left leg, try and press your left knee into the left elbow. Then press your elbow into the left knee, activating the outer hip, lifting up. Don't let the back leg drop. Don't sink in the hips. See if you can really activate and lift through the pelvis here. One more breath. Look down, come back up. And I got a lot of positive feedback on last week's transition, so we're going to try that today together. So we're going to link those two poses now. So we're going to go from Trikonasana, we're going to jump into our star, and we're going to land longer into our Parshva. And it's okay if you fall and stumble, etc. So we'll try it together. So take your Trikonasana, we're leading first with the left leg. Use the block as a nice anchor and you're going to lift up. Look up towards the left hand. And remember, you're going to be using your left leg to support you. So how strong does your left leg need to be right now in order for you to lift the right leg off the ground? So you can look forward towards the left toe, slightly bend and then lift up into your star. So really strong, squeeze the thighs together and jump up. Left leg, sorry, your right leg is grounded, your left leg floats off the ground. Lift the arms, you can't see my arms, but they're in a Y shape. And then as you exhale, you're going to land the back leg further away and then find your Parshva. Lift up. If that was clumsy and awkward, it's okay. We have another chance to try it on the other side. Good. All right. Travel with your block. We're going to try it on the other side. So set up for Trikonasana. So the legs in Trikonasana are closer together, and then when we land in Parshva, we have a little bit more space. So using that last attempt as a lesson, opening up, really, really lengthen through the spine, but really find that anchor in the left foot now. So our right foot will lift, our left foot will be our anchor. Look towards the left toes, slight bend in the knee, and then launch up into your star. I just used the wall. Squeeze the outer hip of the back leg to support yourself. And then as you exhale, land in a longer stance, Parshva. And then find that 90-degree bend and come down. Good. Let's see if we can do it the other way. So from Parshva, you're going to take a little hop with the back leg and lift up into your star. Squeeze the outer hip, find the Y shape, and now landing in your Trikonasana should be a little bit easier. And coming down. Looking up. Good. Let's switch sides and try it. So starting in our longer Parshva stance. So one thing you'll notice with that is that you really have to trust the standing leg. Like really trust that leg to be strong. But also you need to engage your outer hip. Good. So looking up towards the left hand. This little mini hop that we're doing is going to come in handy later. So you do a little tiny hop to come in. Inhale, lift up, trust your standing leg, find your star. And then as you exhale, you find a smaller stance for Trikonasana. So it's easier to go the other way. If you find you have a little bit more space now, you can go ahead and take the block down, grabbing the ankle or the shin, and lifting up. Okay, let's rinse that out. So you can bring your hands to the front of the mat, shoot your right leg back, find a plank position, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. We'll spend a couple breaths here, catch your breath, get grounded again from all the flying and jumping. And you can challenge yourself to do another little hop, so looking forward between the hands. You can bend the knees here, bring them together. And then as you inhale, you're just going to bunny hop once towards the hands. Lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Good. Lift up halfway, one more time. Lift up the chest. The chest comes forward. This time as you exhale, bring your hands to the floor, lift the right leg up. So you can keep the right leg bent for now. And I want you to work on straightening the left leg. Good. And lifting from the knee of the right leg. Now try and straighten the right leg as you keep the left leg straight. And then lowering the face towards the left shin. Squeeze the hips together. It doesn't matter how high your right leg is. It really doesn't matter, as long as your glute is engaged. Good. Now coming up halfway, look forward, and you can bend the right leg as you lift it up, catching the knee. Let's try that again. So, staying on the nice strong left leg, swing the right leg back, fold, catch the floor with the hands, and straighten the right leg, standing split, face towards the shin. And as you inhale, see if you can keep the leg straight and bring it all the way through straight. Grab the toes, or modify with a bent knee, whatever is available to you today. It really does change on a daily basis. If you have a straight leg, try and come back into that standing split with a straight leg. So swinging the right leg back, use the glutes, come forward, land face towards your shin, and then land the right leg halfway lift. Okay, that was fun. Let's try the other side. So forward fold, release the neck, and then you're just gonna bend the left leg, and that's enough. So you're bending the leg, lifting through the knee. I just want you to focus on how strong that right leg is. Really root it to the ground. You're gonna trust this leg as the rest of your body flails around. From here, try and straighten the left leg as much as you can. It really doesn't matter how high it is. So if it's straight and down here, that's better than being bent and like all the way up here. So keep it straight. Left glute is engaged. Keep lifting, lifting, lifting as you fold forward. And on the first swing, we'll just bend the leg. So bending the right leg and bending the left leg coming up. And on the second time, we'll try it with the straight leg. So let's go forward again, send the left leg back. Try and enjoy it. Straighten the left leg, straighten the right leg. Face towards shin. Inhale, keep the legs straight, come up, catch the toe. Lucky I have a wall here. So Uttita Hasta Padangustasana if you can. If you want to take the modified version with the knee, please take that. Work on standing strong in the right leg. If your leg is straight, you're going to try and come back into the standing split with the straight leg. Go for it. Fold forward, strong hands, strong glutes. Shoulders away from the ears. And we have one more try. So give it your all. Okay. Inhale, sweep forward. Strong standing leg. It's okay if you touch the ground. Find Uttita Hasta Padangustasana. Trying to straighten the standing leg as much as you can. And then last time, swing back, fall forward, straight left leg, straight right leg, face towards shin. And land, good. Come up halfway. Your legs should be on fire if you're doing it right. And then we're going to exhale back down into Malasana. So I'll face you here.
You can grab a block if you need, but if you use a block in this variation, please try and just like hover a little bit above the block. If we're sitting on the block completely, we're not activating enough through the legs. So if you know you're gonna cheat with the block, like I will for sure, you're gonna remove it. So you can really push the legs against the arms and arms against the legs. And we really need this activation for our peak pose. So push, 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 legs against arms, arms against legs. I'm doing a bit of shifting, that's okay. And spend a few moments here, relax, enjoy it. Get back to your breathing. Breathe. So the spaces in your body that need it the most, try and send your breath there. Good. I can see that your legs are burning, Britton. That's what I want. Good. Okay. From here, we can do a little twist. So taking the left hand to the outside of the left foot, outside, in front of the left toes. And then, Alex, you'll like this because it's a little Pashasana. So just lifting up into kind of a Pashasana pose, like a little twist. You can place the right hand behind the back and just open up through the shoulder. But you have to keep the legs activated. Good, so squeeze the thighs together. They're probably still burning. It's okay. Just bring it to center, do the other side. Right hand tracks in front of the right toes. Lift up, open up, squeeze the legs together like you're trying to squeeze the knees away and the thighs together. You can open up to the ceiling, but if you find that's causing a bit of a hunch in the shoulders, then just take the arm and try to find the right thigh if you can with the left hand. If you can't touch it, that's fine. Just try and reach there. Nice. Okay, come to center. One more little push. Activating. You should be able to kind of stand as much as you want here. And then we'll just walk the hands to the front of the mat for Anjaneyasana. So taking, this is like a low lunge. If you're a sensitive knee person, or like me, you have a paper thin mat, you can place something under the knee here. I'm going to do that now. You can fold the mat, put a blanket or something. It's definitely worth it to just take that extra moment and give your knee a little bit of support. So from here, in our low lunge, tracking the knee with the toes, so making sure it's not going in or out too much, really activating the back glutes, placing the hands just above the knee and then using that to pull the belly away from the thighs. Squeezing those hips in. You can always take child's pose if you need it. If you need a little break, it's too much for the legs, that's okay. Just finding breath here. Nice deep breaths. Coming forward onto the leg, we're going to place the hands next to the right leg, and you're just going to walk the left leg back a little bit more for firefly pose. So we're walking the right hand inside of the right leg, keeping the left leg nice and long. Just like in Parshvo, it's really important here that you keep your leg and arm very connected. So you're really pushing. Push the leg against the arm, push the arm against the leg. If this is enough for you, you stay here. If you have a little bit more space today, I invite you to bring your elbows down towards the mat. And it's okay to open the thigh, the knee out a little bit, but not too much. You need to keep that right leg active. That's important. So you can allow the hip to open so long as you can keep that leg engaged. So usually that's not opening very much. Really working into that back hip flexor. Left glute is really working here. Legs are squeezing together. If it's too much with the elbows down, please just come up and breathe here because it could be enough work as well.
Save a little bit of energy for the end. Awesome. If you're in the elbow down variation, I invite you to come back up onto your hands. And let's just walk this thing over to the other side, finding our low lunge with the right leg back, left leg forward, and lifting up. So not dumping too much into the lower back, but pulling the belly away from that thigh, finding a bend in the front knee, and then finding your breathing. So whatever state your breathing is in, check in with that. And really activate the back glutes. So we don't dump too much into the hips, and we have a controlled movement. We're controlling the stretch by activating certain muscles. And then you can even walk the right leg back, and then just walking the left hand in beside the left foot. And then again, that pressing motion. So pressing the left leg into the left arm. Hard enough that you can still breathe normally. So not too hard, not interrupting the breath. And then just a nice, gentle lowering to the floor. So again, you can allow your left hip to open a little bit as long as you can engage that left leg. Once you feel like you've collapsed and you're lowering the pelvis, lowering the hips, then we're kind of cheating a bit. So you can even raise the back knee if you feel like it helps you. For me, I find it helps me stay engaged, keeps the pelvis lifted. And breathe. Remember, you do not have to keep the elbows down at all. If you feel like you need to come up, as long as you're not coming up to escape anything. So if it's coming up just because it's unpleasant, stay down. But if it's coming up because you feel it's too deep of a stretch, then that's fine. Lower the right knee down. We can stay here up on the hands with straight arms. And then sort of walk to the middle, keep the feet pointing forward, and you can lower a little bit to the ground. If you need a block, you can even put it on the highest height, and lower down to the block for kind of like a half split, toes pointing forward. So inner thighs are engaged, only using the block in case you fall, because only your cats can save you if you fall. So stay up, inner thighs working, and now we can lower down to the block. Good. Bend the legs, walk back towards the front of the mat, and we can try for a full split here. The ones who need pillows and bolsters, now's the time to use those. So putting them under the hip and finding your split. Hi, Ben. Ben is here to help us with the splits. And we're not doing this very long, so really activate through the legs, pull the thighs together. And we'll walk back to our middle one and find it again on the left side, landing on our block, pillow, bolster, fort, whatever we need today. And if the back hip opens up to the side, that's a dancer's split. It's a little bit easier. We're doing a Ashtanga split, which is of course going to be harder. So they want your both hips forward. They want your hip to be rolled down rather than out to the side. So you really have to squeeze the legs in. This is just quick. We're not spending too much time here. If you want to try and lower to the ground, go ahead. Try and keep the legs engaged. Good. I like this challenge too. If you can, tuck the back toes, press into the hands, and try and lift yourself up without bending that front leg. And you'll find yourself in a down dog. Good. And we'll rest here for a moment. I think we earned it. So take a rest in your down dog. And just gently lift the right leg, and we're gonna sweep it forward, finding ourselves in a warrior two. And from here, we're gonna slide the hands forward along the leg, land the right leg beside the, right hand beside the right foot. And from here, you're gonna try and bind. So trying to get the shoulder underneath the leg. If it's not possible, stay here. Right up here. And if you're with me still, try and bind the right leg with the left hand, rolling the chest open. And if you're here, just work here. Keep working on activating the right knee, pressing into the right hand. That's a lot of good work right there. If you're with me and you're in a bind, we get to hop around some more. So you're gonna hop the left leg forward, and then strong through the left leg, just come up onto the right toes. So stay in your bind, come up onto the right toes. Really firm through the left leg here. See if you can engage the glutes. And then we're just simply gonna lift the right leg off the ground. Try and raise the chest. If you can lift the chest up. And stay here. This is your bird of paradise with a lifted chest as much as you can. If you feel like you have a little bit more juice, you can try and straighten the leg as much as possible. So both legs are trying to be straight. Or you can just work with the bent leg and getting as much lift as possible. So lifting through the chest, and then you work on straightening the leg. Come back down. We can unwind here, and I'm going to shake the legs out a little bit. So if you didn't get it the first time, we have a little bit more time, so we'll try that one more time and then we'll switch sides. So you can start at a lower, shorter low lunge. And what we're doing is we're trying to like really tuck the shoulder under that leg first. So that's your first checkpoint. Can I get my shoulder under my leg? And if you can't, that's absolutely fine. So you're pressing the leg into the arm and working from here. Keep rolling the chest open. And then if that feels accessible, maybe you try for the bind. And if you feel comfortable in the bind, like you really have full control over the legs and arms, then you can hop the left foot forward and come up onto the tiptoes of the right leg. Remember to trust your standing leg. So your standing leg is a nice strong pillar. And as you come up, you should be able to engage through the side of the glutes. Lift up and stay here. Just for a breath. Try and straighten the standing leg. And that's enough work there, at least for me. And then from here you can try and straighten the other leg. And then land. Then you can shake out the legs. And we'll try the other side. So this is our last active pose of the day. So taking a nice long stance. Left hand comes into the left foot. Nice sturdy back leg as well. Try and open up the chest towards the ceiling. And then the sides are going to be very different as well. But you're just going to roll the shoulder under the leg. And if that's not accessible today, again, you just work from here. Keep rolling the chest open. And just breathe into that hip. Both hips should be active. squeezing against each other, towards each other. If you're still with me, you're gonna roll your shoulder under the leg and go for the bind. As you reach the bind, roll the chest towards the ceiling. Good. Hop the back leg just a little bit closer to the left leg and come up onto the tiptoes. So really activate through both feet. Point the feet, or at least the left feet, point them. And then you can do a little bend in the right knee if you need it to lift yourself up. But really trying to straighten the right leg as much as possible. And just like, you can work from here. Just trying to straighten that leg is enough. Okay. And if you feel confident today and you feel like your legs aren't on fire still, then you can go ahead and try and straighten the left leg. Whoop. I'll change my angle here. So I'm trying to keep my chest up. Like if you're hunched forward like this and your leg is straight, that's great, but it's not really the posture. So what I'd rather you do is stand up tall with a bent leg and wobble around. All right, just one more time. Try to straighten the leg. And then you can try and land gracefully. And shake the legs. If you want to keep trying, that's fine. You can leave us here. And the rest of us are going to do a cool down. But if you have a couple more attempts in you, go for it by all means. We're just going to find a plank. Lower down slowly through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Bringing the knees towards the hands. And sitting back onto the right heel. We're going to take the left leg over the right leg, trying to land the knees together. And in this variation, you're going to let the right heel slide out next to your hip, and the left heel slide out next to your right hip. So look cow face variation, where you want both heels on the floor, and you keep that heel leg activation going. From here, you can place the hands on the knees, or if you want to do a twist like we did an eagle, lifting the arms away from one another. Really twisting either side, as long as you do the other side when we switch legs. But really, you can squeeze the legs together here. It should feel really nice on the outer hips. And then from here, same way we started, you can bring the elbows down towards the knees. It's a really deep stretch for the hips, or you can come all the way down. And just kind of working the face towards the mat. But I love any poses where you have to balance, because I find them very humbling, and if your mind isn't focused, you can't do them. So it's a great indication of where your mind is at as well. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. So take the variation you need. You can stay up or you can fold forward. Remembering to just, and gently, right? Like not jamming the legs together, but just gently squeezing the legs together. You can unravel that and then switch. So coming onto the left heel, taking the right leg over. And you can stay here actually, the Ashtanga version. You can stay like on top of the left heel. But if you can get both sit bones to the ground, it's also nice to just let yourself do that, trying to get both heels to the outside of the hips, squeezing the hips together, squeezing the legs together. And taking any arm variation that you need to. Place the hands on the knees on the floor. You can do the eagle arms, which is great, especially if you lift. We didn't do a lot of arms today at all, but if you lift the elbows just up and think of moving the shoulders away from the ears, you can really feel a deep stretch in the shoulder blades. That is a very rare stretch and very nice. Staying up if you like, or just coming down. So first placing the elbows on the knees, just like we were in our little crunch before when we started. And then if you have it in you, if it's not too much, coming down towards the floor. If you're in the forward fold variation, I really encourage you to feel your upper back really rising and falling with the breath. It's a really easy way to guide the breath into your upper back. Another one that's really nice for the hips. If you've got your mat, I like to use my mat as kind of a measuring point. You're just going to place your right shin bone on the ground parallel to the mat as much as you can. And you're going to try and place your left one also parallel to the mat. This is called fire log pose. I don't know the Sanskrit name off the top of my head, but because your legs are essentially firewood. And from here you can stay up. I find even if you just gently tilt forward, that'll be enough. We really want the stretch in the outer hip, so try not to go too much in the lower back. Pulling the belly kind of away from the thigh, rolling the back of the pelvis towards the wall, and folding from there. So sit bones are really heavy on the ground as you come forward. And that way you can really guide the stretch to the outer hips. And again, you're gonna have to do that thing where you really use the legs. Again, you're at home, so if ever you feel like you need to spend a little bit longer in a pose, that's okay. If you feel like you need longer in that posture, I'm just gonna switch sides so we can wrap up. So again, like doing your best to line up the shin bones. If you feel any action in the knee, it's always like, okay, maybe come out of it. So it might be that you need more support under one of your knees. I definitely have to reiterate that both sides are always gonna be different. So you can observe that, but keeping the legs active is really going to help. Keeping those thigh bones moving down, the pelvis really heavy, splits on the ground. And if you're more a forward tilting person, then really working on moving that pelvis back. And if you're more of a
a backwards tilting pelvis person, can you try and shift the weight forward a little bit and find that bend from the hips? So you can slowly come forward, or even just leaning forward slightly could work. So if you're comfortable there, please stay there. Work from there. If you want to move on, we're going to move on to our backs. And just our last posture before Shavasana, just a classic glute stretch. So taking your right leg and a figure four onto the left. And then really scooping the belly, so back of the pelvis, like your lower back is as much on the ground as you can make it. And then you're going to lift your right leg up. And of course you can gently pull in to guide the stretch. Really activating through the right leg. Hi, Ben. Okay, that's a little bit. Activating through the right leg. And feeling a stretch in the outer right hip. And the glutes. Bringing both legs up in a waterfall, and then switching sides. For Shavasana, which is where I'm going to leave you, if you want to do a traditional Shavasana, that is fantastic. If you want a variation, a really, really nice variation after this would be Viparita Karani, just lying with your legs at the wall. You can even put your pelvis on a block or bolster or blanket just to raise it a little bit, and just even just sitting there for 10 minutes with your legs at the wall would be really nice. Or even if you can stay for the length of 1 or 2 songs. Asking yourself what you need today and making a decision based on your needs at this moment. So you can go straight into Shavasana, or if you want to join me for a closing chant, we can chant Om 3 times together. And the Ganesha mantra as well. So inhale for Om. now down to your mat. Thank you for joining me today. I promise we'll do some arms next week because we've done a lot of legs the past 2 weeks. Always, if you have requests, I'm open, so you can always send us a message. And please take a little Shavasana, even if it's 5 minutes, legs up the wall, just to rest your nervous system, especially if you felt a lot come up because we did so much with the hips. But thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week.